In the third stage, we can check on few aspects of metabolic acidosis, the anion gap and the gap ratios. But here in this video, we will only touch the anion gaps. We will spare the gap ratios for next videos. Now remember, in last video we said as per law of electroneutrality, the amount of anions must be equal to amount of cations. In other words, the sum of unmeasured anions and the measurable anions in extracellular space should be equal to the sum of unmeasured cations and measured cations. Using abbreviations for them, measured and unmeasured anions and cations, if we now switch the unmeasured cations, that is UC, to the other side of equation, and we switch the measured anions Ma to the right side, then the new equation is unmeasured anions minus unmeasured cations is equal to measured cations minus measured anions, right? Now this difference between unmeasured anions to unmeasured cations is actually called the anion gap. Now we know that in extracellular space, main cations measured are sodium and potassium, and the major anions are chloride and bicarb. So you see how by knowing the quantity of measurable anions and cations and applying that in equation, we can actually know the anion gap, or in other words, the unmeasured ions difference. To understand the concept, let's see it graphically. So the brown colored measured cations are sodium and potassium. The charcoal colored measured anions are chloride and bicarb, where normal values of sodium we see in electrolytes in extracellular space is 140, potassium rests at 5, chloride at 105 and bicarb at 24. So let's use this equation and calculate anion gap in normal circumstances. Anion gap is equal to measured cations minus measured anions. So measured cations being sodium and potassium, measured anions being chloride and bicarb. Now putting their values into the equation, so 145 minus 129, this is 16 plus minus 4. So the normal anion gap is 16 plus minus 4. This is when you add the potassium as well. So where is the difference seen on graph? Right above the anion bicarb. This black colored box signifies the difference, and this is the box of unmeasured anions such as lactate, phosphate, etc. Now stay with me here, you will know why this is so important here. Suppose now we add lactate or keto acid, any fixed acid in the body. It would give off hydrogen and add itself as anion to the unmeasured anion box, right? So this would increase the negatively charged anions compared to positively charged cations. But the body must follow the law of electroneutrality that anions must equal cations. So the bicarb starts getting consumed to neutralize the added hydrogens. So where you are adding unmeasured anions to the body, bicarb as a measured anion starts decreasing to keep the electroneutrality intact, right? And where there is low bicarb, it is called what? It is called metabolic acidosis. So now the new anion gap is again using the same equation, but this time bicarb is reduced to 16. So anion gap turns out to be 24. So it is high anion gap metabolic acidosis, which is indicating that some fixed acid has been added into the unmeasured anion box and causing acidosis and consuming bicarb. So this helps in diagnosis. Remember the mnemonic mud piles. For high anion gap, we will suspect the following: methanol, uremia, diabetic ketoacidosis, propylene glycol, isoniazid, lactic acidosis, and salicylates. Now suppose there is acidosis with normal anion gap. It means that the unmeasured anion box is same as the normal box. So what caused this reduced difference? The chloride ion. If you add too much chloride into the body would lose the bicarb from extracellular space to maintain electroneutrality. So at the expense of following the law of electroneutrality, bicarb reduces and acidosis occurs. So now when chloride is increased to 110 and bicarb is reduced to 16, the anion gap turns out to be 145 minus 126, so 18, which is normal. If it is then normal anion gap acidosis, we use the mnemonic hard ups to reach the diagnosis. The possible causes are hyperalimentation, acetazolamide, amphotericin B, renal tubular acidosis, diarrhea, ureterosigmoidostomy, where bicarb is lost and chloride is retained in body, or of course too much sodium chloride given. Now that we've learned the steps and how to apply anion gap to check causes in metabolic acidosis, let's get straight to interpreting ABGs practically. Step 1, pH 7.15, so downgoing, acidosis. Step 2, pH and CO2 directions. So CO2 is at 20, so downgoing. So both in the same direction, and Me for the same stands for metabolic. So it is metabolic acidosis. Now let's see the compensation. Apply the formula for metabolic acidosis. Expected carbon dioxide is 1.5 into bicarb is 8. So 12 plus 8 equals 20 millimeters of mercury. What's the actual carbon dioxide on ABGs? 20. So fully compensated metabolic acidosis. Now let's see the anion gap here. So anion gap is equal to sodium plus potassium minus chloride plus bicarb. So putting in the values, this makes 141 minus 103, so 38. Normal is 16 plus minus 4. So this is high anion gap metabolic acidosis.